Could your pet's food be lacking an important nutrient for their brain? Brain health is incredibly important during every stage of your pet's life. During kitten and puppyhood, their brains are growing and developing. During adulthood, they need to retain healthy brain function for training, playing, and learning. And during senior years, your pet's cognition begins to slow down with age. So, no matter where they are in life, you need to be sure their brain is getting the essential nutrients it needs to stay healthy. Processed commercial pet food lacks important ingredients that allow the brain and body to thrive, while also including undesirable ingredients like dyes, artificial flavors, and corn syrup that aren't even necessary in the diet. Many pet owners have already noticed this issue with pet food and opt to feed homemade diets to gain more control over what goes into their pet's body. But is switching from processed food to homemade food enough? There's actually a chance that many homemade diets still lack important foods that support brain health. And these foods provide two very important nutrients that your pet's brain needs to stay healthy. Okay, so what are these foods? And what about them is so helpful to the brain? Well, the first nutrient is actually a type of fat. And this fat is called docosahexaenoic acid, or DHA. DHA is an omega-3 fatty acid that makes up over 90% of your pet's brain. And it also aids in the structural integrity of the cerebral cortex, which is responsible for memory and attentiveness. So there's no question your pet's brain highly relies on DHA. To put this into perspective, in 2012, a study was done on 48 beagle puppies that were split into 3 groups, with one group receiving low DHA, one receiving moderate DHA, and one receiving high DHA food for an entire year. And throughout this year, the puppies performed different learning, memory, and performance tasks. And at the 1-year mark, the results were in. And the outcome showed that the high DHA group had significantly better results for task learning and obstacle navigation than the moderate and low DHA groups. This study, among many others, show that puppies really benefit from DHA in their diet. But what about adults? AAFCO, the organization that created nutrient standards for commercial pet food, do not deem DHA essential for adults. This means pet food companies don't have to add DHA into their food, even though NRC, the organization that AAFCO based their guidelines off of, does deem DHA essential for adults. Why did AAFCO decide this? Adult and senior pet brains still need to be taken care of because as they age, their cognition declines. So, is it possible that DHA could also improve an aging pet's brain? Well, in 2022, a study was done on senior beagles, where one group was supplemented with DHA and the other was supplemented with a placebo. After 6 months, they did a few cognitive tests, and a significant decline in performance was seen in the placebo-supplemented dogs, while an improved performance was seen in the DHA-supplemented dogs. So, why AAFCO doesn't deem DHA essential for adults, I'll never understand. But luckily, you have the ability to add DHA into your pet's diet through a few whole foods. And I'll give you 3 great options. The first is oily fish. Oily fish like salmon, mackerel, and sardines are loaded with DHA, as well as another important omega-3 fatty acid, EPA. My pets are fed a homemade raw diet, and I always provide high DHA, low mercury fish to their meals. The next animal-based ingredient that's high in DHA is fish roe, or fish eggs, where 1 ounce of canned pink salmon provides about 200 milligrams of DHA, 1 ounce of roe provides about 400 milligrams. When you're shopping for fish roe, make sure it's not seasoned or cured with salt, vinegar, or soy sauce. Okay, can you guess what the next high DHA ingredient is? Brain. Organ meats are a very important ingredient in homemade diets, and at just 5% of the diet, brain can provide up to 300% of the recommended daily allowance of DHA. Now, there's something you need to know before feeding this beneficial fatty acid. DHA is an omega-3 fatty acid, which is a fat that can easily oxidize in the body. This oxidation creates something called free radicals. And studies show that free radicals play a large role in cognitive decline by damaging cells in the brain and body. So, does this mean you shouldn't feed food high in omega-3s? No way. Because there's actually an easy way to prevent oxidation while also improving your pet's brain health. And that is to provide the body with a natural antioxidant. Free radicals are atoms or molecules that are missing an electron, and this is why they're stealing electrons from healthy cells in the body. The antioxidants' job is to give away their own electrons to the free radicals, which then renders them harmless. Now, commercial pet foods do provide antioxidants in their food, but an alarming amount contain cancer-causing chemicals like BHA and BHT as antioxidants. You certainly can't feed those to your pets. So, what do? Well, what if I told you there was a vitamin that acts as an antioxidant? What is it? Mixed tocopherols, or vitamin E. Not only is it a powerful antioxidant, but it's also been seen to prevent mental decline in both aging humans and people with Alzheimer's. And a study done on zebrafish showed that vitamin E even played an essential role in transporting DHA from the liver to the brain. This means that vitamin E not only protects the brain from free radicals, but it can also help the brain receive more DHA. So if you're looking for a vitamin E source, your best bet is to feed natural vitamin E oil. And what you should look out for when shopping is D-alpha tocopherol, or mixed tocopherols, which are multiple natural forms combined. I personally feed a natural vitamin E oil that contains mixed tocopherols. Now, there's also another natural antioxidant that's worth noting, because it's actually quite a bit stronger than vitamin E is when it comes to fighting free radicals. This antioxidant is called astaxanthin, and it's a carotenoid that's mainly found in aquatic animals like shrimp, krill, and wild-caught salmon. This means salmon essentially has its own natural antioxidant. So, if you're feeding wild-caught salmon, it may not be necessary to include as much vitamin E. However, if you're feeding any other oily fish, vitamin E is just fine to use, and essential to add in homemade diets anyway. Now, before adding salmon or any other oily fish to your pet's diet, there's a few things you need to know beforehand, like which fish are safe to feed, how much to feed, and how to safely feed them. Well, watch this video to find out.